Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. Today, we're taking a deep dive into Amanda Lee Coe's Sister Snake.
Oh, very nice.
It's a captivating tale. It spans centuries and continents and follows two snake spirits who transform into human women.
Sounds fascinating.
It really is. And they embark on very different paths.
Okay.
Ultimately, it leads to a dramatic collision of their lives to guide us through the twists and turns of this story.
All right.
We have an expert on Chinese mythology and contemporary literature.
But it's a pleasure to be here. Sister Snake is such a rich and layered novel. It blends ancient folklore with modern dilemmas.
It really does.
hmm
So to help our listeners understand this book, we'll summarize the key events in the order they happen.
Okay, sounds good.
Buckle up. This is going to be a wild ride. Let's rewind all the way back to 815 AD,
Wow.
during the Tang Dynasty.
Okay.
We first meet the white snake and the green snake as snake spirits dwelling in a tree hollow by the enchanting West Lake in Hangzhou.
Westlake. A place steeped in Chinese folklore, known for its breathtaking beauty and mythical associations. It's the perfect setting to introduce these two extraordinary characters.
Absolutely. And even in their snake forms, their distinct personalities shine through.
Interesting.
The white snake yearns for something more, something beyond their slithery existence. She desires to become human.
That yearning for transformation is a powerful force, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It speaks to the universal desire for change, for growth, for experiencing life in new and profound ways.
It certainly does. And her sister, the green snake,
Okay.
is the one who makes this transformation possible.
hmm
She discovers these magical lilac lotus seeds.
Oh, wow.
They're rumored to grant human form and immortality,
Really?
but they're not just lying around in a fruit basket.
Right.
These seeds are tucked away in an underwater cave,
Okay.
guarded by a treacherous whirlpool.
Oh, my.
And they only appear on Mid-Autumn Festival when the moon is at its brightest.
The symbolism here is fascinating. Mid-Autumn Festival is a time of harvest family reunions and gazing at the full moon. It represents completion and abundance, and the lotus emerging from muddy waters to bloom with pristine beauty
Right.
symbolizes purity and rebirth. It's as if the sisters' journey towards humanity is interwoven with these ancient cultural threads.
I love how those symbolic layers add depth to the story.
Yeah.
So they bravely face the whirlpool, claim their prize, consume the magical seeds, and voila, they transform into human women.
From serpentine grace to human complexity, all thanks to a few enchanted lotus seeds. It's quite a leap, wouldn't you say?
A total metamorphosis. But as they navigate their newfound human lives,
Right.
their different approaches to existence become even more apparent. The white snake, now called Sue, embraces human society wholeheartedly.
She seems to crave stability, conformity, a life that blends seamlessly with the norms and expectations of the human world.
Yes, it's like she's trying to erase her past to fit in and disappear among the masses.
Which is particularly interesting when you consider the societal pressures in Singapore, where she eventually settles. It's a nation known for its emphasis on order achievement and social harmony. Perhaps Sue's desire for conformity is a way to navigate these expectations, to find a sense of belonging in a society that values fitting in.
That makes so much sense. It's as if her snake-like ability to blend into the environment is now manifesting in her human life. But as we all know, appearances can be deceiving.
Right.
Sue harbors a dark secret, a primal urge that she struggles to control.
Yes, the book reveals that she occasionally needs to kill and consume animals, specifically goats, to feel grounded. It's like a visceral reminder of her animalistic origins, something she desperately tries to suppress.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? This woman striving for ultimate conformity, yet harboring a secret so wild, so utterly at odds with her carefully constructed life.
It certainly adds another layer to the concept of identity, wouldn't you agree? Are we ever truly free from our past? Can we ever fully escape the primal urges that lurk beneath the surface?
Such thought-provoking questions. And speaking of urges,
Okay.
let's turn our attention to Emerald the green snake in her human form.
All right.
She takes a completely different approach to human life, one that embraces freedom, excitement, and a touch of mischief.
Emerald's journey is a whirlwind of experiences. She flicks from city to city, even era to era, leaving a trail of broken hearts and bewildered admirers in her wake.
One episode that really stood out was her romance with Jean-Baptiste,
Okay?
a Haitian poet in 1930s Harlem. It perfectly encapsulates Emerald's attraction to creative, unconventional souls, those who defy societal norms, just as she does.
That choice of lover speaks volumes about her character, doesn't it? She's not content with the ordinary, the predictable. She craves intensity, passion, a taste of the extraordinary, and perhaps she sees a reflection of herself and those who like her exist on the fringes of society.
Definitely. And just as she was resourceful in her snake form, Emerald uses her unique abilities to navigate the human world. She feeds on people's quies,
Interesting.
that vital energy that flows through the body according to traditional Chinese medicine.
It's a fascinating concept, quite. It represents the life force, the energy that animates all living things. In a way, it's the very essence of vitality.
It's almost like she's drawing on their life force.
Right.
But the book makes it clear she's not causing any significant harm. More like a little energy boost than a full-on vampire attack.
Exactly. It's more of a subtle exchange than a predatory act. She takes what she needs, but she doesn't drain anyone completely. It's a delicate balance, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like she's learned to adapt her instincts to the human world,
Yeah.
to take just enough to thrive without causing too much disruption.
A fascinating example of how she blends her serpentine nature with her human existence.
And that brings us to her current life in the bustling metropolis of 2020's New York City. She's living the high life as an escort with a wealthy sugar daddy named Giovanni.
A life of luxury and fleeting connections perfectly suited to her desire for freedom and avoidance of deep emotional entanglements. It's a stark contrast to Sue's seemingly stable yet secretly tumultuous life in Singapore.
Talk about two sides of the same coin. But as the story unfolds, we learn that even carefully constructed lives can crumble in an instant.
Ah, yes, the moment their paths collide, throwing everything into chaos. But I believe that's a story for our next installment.
You're right, it's the perfect cliffhanger. We've set the stage, introduced these intriguing characters, and hinted at the conflicts brewing beneath the surface. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve into the dramatic events that bring the sisters face to face once more. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're unraveling the captivating tale of Sister Snake, and last time we left off with the sisters living vastly different lives. Sue seeking stability in Singapore, while Emerald embraced a life of freedom and excitement in New York.
Right.
But as fate would have it, their paths are about to intersect in a way that shatters their carefully constructed realities.
Yes, their reunion is a catalyst for a chain of events that exposes the raw undercurrents of their relationship, forcing them to confront long-buried resentments and the consequences of their choices.
It all starts with a phone call. Sue receives news that Emerald has been shot in New York.
Oh, no.
And in that moment, her carefully curated world tilts on its axis.
It's a moment of reckoning for Susu. Despite their contrasting lifestyles and sometimes strained relationship, the bond between the sisters runs deep. It's a visceral connection forged in their shared history, their shared transformation, and their shared secret.
And that connection compels her to act. She impulsively flies to New York, driven by a mixture of duty and a deep-seated fear of losing the only family she has left.
But her arrival in New York doesn't exactly lead to a heartwarming reunion. There's a palpable tension between the sisters. Years of unspoken resentments bubbling to the surface. Emerald accuses Sue of trying to control her, of judging her choices, of not understanding her need for freedom and self-expression.
And Sue, struggling to maintain her own composure, lashes out accusing Emerald of recklessness, of jeopardizing their safety, of refusing to conform to a world that demands a certain level of decorum.
It's a clash of ideologies, wouldn't you say? Two different approaches to navigating the complexities of human existence. Sue clinging to the illusion of control, while Emerald embraces the unpredictable chaos of life.
It's like their fundamental differences. Those inherent inclinations that were present even in their snake forms are now magnified in their human lives. And to add another layer of complexity to the mix, we're introduced to Bartek Emerald's close friend who unwittingly gets caught in the crossfire of this sisterly showdown.
Bartek represents the human element in their lives, someone completely oblivious to their true nature, their serpentine past, and the extraordinary abilities they possess. He becomes entangled in their drama, drawn into their web of secrets, ultimately becoming a pawn in their escalating conflict.
And his involvement has tragic consequences. But before we delve into that heart-wrenching turn of events, let's backtrack a bit and address the elephant in the room, or rather, the bun in the oven.
Ah, yes. Sue's unexpected pregnancy. A revelation that throws her already precarious world into further turmoil.
It's particularly significant given her past trauma. Remember her encounter with the crates in her snake form.
Indeed, a harrowing experience that left deep scars, both physical and emotional. It's a reminder of her vulnerability, of the dangers that lurk even in their natural habitat.
And the pregnancy brings all those fears and anxieties to the surface. She's terrified of losing control, of being exposed, of her secret being revealed.
It's as if the pregnancy amplifies her need for stability, for order, for a life that adheres to societal expectations. And it makes her even more determined to protect her carefully crafted facade.
But as we know, facades have a way of crumbling, especially when secrets start to unravel. And that's precisely what happens at a seemingly innocuous event at Parliament House.
Yes, the scene where Sue's carefully constructed world implodes, sending shockwaves through Singapore's elite.
It's a turning point in the story, a moment of no return. Paul, her husband, the embodiment of order and control, discovers her pregnancy. And in a misguided attempt to protect her and maintain his own grasp on the situation, he reveals that he knows her deepest, darkest secret.
He exposes her need to consume goats, framing it as a sign of instability, of mental fragility. He justifies his actions as a duty of care, arguing that she needs to be protected from herself.
But his actions have the opposite effect. His betrayal, his attempt to control her, to make decisions about her body without her consent, triggers a primal rage within Sue.
It's as if his attempt to impose order upon her unleashes the chaos that she's been desperately trying to suppress.
And that chaos explodes in a terrifying display of power. Sue transforms, embracing her full serpentine form, and unleashes a fury unlike anything Singapore has ever witnessed.
It's a scene that's both horrifying and exhilarating. We witness the raw power of a creature breaking free from the constraints of human society, a force of nature unleashed upon the world.
And the consequences are devastating. She lashes out not just at Paul, but at other high-ranking officials who represent the very system she's been trying to appease. It's a violent rejection of everything she once strived for, a rebellion against the suffocating expectations that have been weighing her down.
And in that moment of untamed fury, she kills several people, including Paul. It's a tragic turn of events, a reminder that even those who seek conformity can reach a breaking point.
And in the aftermath of this shocking act of violence, we're introduced to two new characters. Tiksu's loyal personal security officer and Ploy, a Thai bar girl who captures Tik's heart.
Their presence adds another layer to the narrative, offering a glimpse into a different side of Singaporean society, one that grapples with love identity and acceptance in the shadows of the city's gleaming facade.
They become caught in the fallout of Sue's actions, trying to help Emerald while also navigating their own complicated relationship. Their love story unfolds amidst the chaos, a beacon of hope and humanity in a world that seems to be spiraling out of control.
And in their search for a solution, for a way to help Emerald, they turn to a figure who embodies the clash between tradition and modernity. Uncle Lu, a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner and Taoist exorcist.
Uncle Lu is such a fascinating character. He's like a bridge between the ancient world and the modern, a keeper of secrets that have been passed down through generations. He represents a different way of understanding the world, one that embraces the mystical and the spiritual.
And his views on snake spirits, those creatures that straddle the line between the human and the animal, the natural and the supernatural, challenge our perceptions. He sees them as inherently dangerous, as beings that don't belong in the human realm.
It's a perspective that's both intriguing and a little unsettling, especially when he introduces a potent concoction known as the three-poison whiskey.
Ah, yes, the three-poison whiskey. A volatile elixir designed to purge toxins to restore balance, and in extreme cases to force a transformation back into one's original form.
It's like a wild card in the story, a catalyst that could either heal or destroy. And its introduction sets the stage for a confrontation between Sue and Emerald that's both emotionally charged and physically transformative.
But I believe we've reached another pivotal point in the story, a moment that deserves its own chapter in our exploration. Shall we take a brief pause and allow our listeners to absorb the events that have transpired?
Yes. Let's leave them on the edge of their seats, eager to discover what fate has in store for the sisters and those caught in their tangled web.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We left off with Sue and Emerald on the brink of a confrontation, the potent three-poison whiskey hanging in the air like a volatile promise.
Indeed, the tension was palpable. But before we delve into the climax of their story, a startling revelation emerges, casting a new light on the events that unfolded at Parliament House.
Oh, you mean those news reports that mentioned a mysterious white snake present during Sue's rampage? I was wondering about that.
It turned out that the white snake wasn't Sue after all. It was Emerald who had shed her skin and briefly transformed back into her serpentine form during the chaos.
Wait, what? I thought she was fully human at that point. This is where the book challenges our understanding of transformation and identity. Even though Emerald had been living as a human for centuries, she still retained her snake-like abilities and instincts lurking beneath the surface of her human persona.
So a part of her, that primal essence, never truly disappeared. It was just dormant, waiting for the right moment to reemerge.
Precisely. It's a reminder that our past experiences, our origins, shape us in ways we may not fully comprehend. They become part of our tapestry, woven into the very fabric of our being.
But why would she transform back into a snake during the attack? It seems counterintuitive considering she was trying to stop Sue.
It appears that witnessing Sue's unbridled rage, her complete loss of control triggered a primal protective instinct within Emerald. It was as if a deep-seated, almost unconscious urge to shield her sister from harm took over, overriding her human logic.
Wow, that's incredible. Talk about a fierce sibling bond. But this revelation puts Emerald in a dangerous position, doesn't it? Now, she's not just a witness to a major crime, she's potentially a suspect.
Absolutely. Tick and Ploy, realizing the gravity of the situation, make a split-second decision to whisk Emerald away from the hospital before the authorities can detain her.
That's a bold move. Where do they take her? Back to her luxurious apartment.
Not quite. They seek refuge with the one person they believe can help. Uncle Lu, the enigmatic practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine and Taoist exorcism.
Uncle Lou. But he seemed rather skeptical of Emerald's motives, even warning about the dangers of trusting a Yao Jing, a creature that straddles the boundary between the human and the supernatural.
True, Uncle Lu is not one to be easily swayed by sentimentality. He approaches the situation with a blend of caution and pragmatism, aware of the potential risks involved. But beneath his gruff exterior lies a deep well of knowledge and a surprising willingness to help those who seek his guidance.
So he agrees to help her. What does he propose?
Uncle Lu, drawing upon his vast knowledge of ancient Taoist practices, suggests a powerful ritual one that can help Emerald reconnect with her true self, to tap into the source of her power and resilience, to heal the wounds that run deeper than any physical injury.
Sounds intense. What does this ritual entail?
The book doesn't go into specific details, but it's described as a physically and emotionally demanding process, pushing Emerald to her limits. It involves ancient chants, visualizations, and the manipulation of energy pathways within the body.
Does it work?
It does, but not without its challenges. Emerald faces her inner demons, confronts the pain and trauma of her past, and ultimately emerges transformed.
What kind of transformation?
It's not a physical transformation, but rather a spiritual awakening. Emerald gains a deeper understanding of her own nature, her connection to her sister, and the cyclical nature of life and death. She learns to accept the duality within her, the intertwining of her human and serpentine selves, and to embrace the full potential of her power.
It sounds like a profound experience, a journey of self-discovery that leads to a newfound sense of clarity and purpose.
Exactly. It's as if she's finally integrated the disparate parts of herself, finding a balance between her primal instincts and her human aspirations.
But this newfound clarity also brings the realization she can't stay in Singapore. It's too dangerous, and she needs space to heal, to process everything she's been through.
So she bids farewell to Tick and Ploy, promising to stay in touch, and boards a flight back to the familiar chaos of New York City.
And what about Sue? Where do we leave her in all of this?
The book ends with Sue in a mental health facility recovering from her breakdown. She's lost everything. Her husband, her position, her carefully constructed life. But she's also gained a newfound awareness of her own strength and resilience.
It's a bittersweet ending, isn't it? Tragedy and resilience intertwined.
It is. There's a sense of loss, of irreversible damage. But there's also a glimmer of hope, a suggestion that both sisters, through their shared ordeal, have discovered a deeper understanding of themselves and the enduring power of their bond.
And what about you? What are your final thoughts on Sister Snake?
It's a haunting and evocative tale that lingers in the mind long after you finish reading. It's a story that challenges our perceptions of good and evil, of nature versus nurture, and the intricate complexities of human relationships. It explores the yearning for belonging, the transformative power of love and loss, and the enduring legacy of our past.
Beautifully said. Sister Snake is a captivating read that I highly recommend to anyone who enjoys stories that blend mythology, social commentary, and psychological depth. Now, we'd love to hear from you, our listeners.
Yeah.
What did you think of the book? What resonated with you the most?
Perhaps you were intrigued by the exploration of Chinese mythology and its relevance to contemporary issues. Or maybe you were drawn to the complex dynamic between the sisters, their conflicting desires, and the sacrifices they make for each other.
Whatever your takeaway, we encourage you to share your thoughts, to engage in the conversation, to delve deeper into the themes and ideas that this book so skillfully presents.
Because that's what the deep dive is all about, exploring the hidden depths of stories, uncovering the layers of meaning, and sparking insightful conversations.
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.